Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Hemburg. So last episode we worked a lot on the upper part of town around the arena, especially to do with a lot of these shops that we've got in front of us, like the barrel maker, weaver and postmaster, and also a tailor. And of course we also had the cheese shop, a couple of the angled houses, which is what I'm going to try and fit more of those in. And of course that bathing area. Also the orphanage, and also that kind of centralised area that we've got, where we've got, at the minute we've got some sort of music festival or some sort of plays going on. So we've got that kind of like central entertainment type area around the old religious district. So what I'm wanting to do this episode is work on the outside of the walls and really build up a couple more fields, because I don't want to do this as one of the last episodes because it'll be going on for a while. So we've got this small stream that comes from the back of the orphanage, where we've got, well, I'm gonna have some sort of spring, and then just following this river down. It does fork off and it does join onto another river as well, which we'll finish up in a bit. But as you can see, this allows me to kind of cut up the land a little bit. Which is really good, and obviously rivers, where you're going to have a lot of rivers, especially with the big river that we've got by the side, so small streams going into the bigger river. You can see me just making this meander around all of the natural hills, and I really wanted to make it look like it was natural as well. So you can see me cutting in, moving them down here. And then just filling in that small stream which comes from the upper hill, so like I said, this just allows it to be a little bit more cut up, which is quite nice. So one of the things I wanted to do on the farmlands was build a small farmhouse, well actually quite a big farmhouse, but this is supposed to be one of the bigger families. This is one of their farmhouses. They might actually live in the noble district, but this was like their original house that they built up, and then they had actually got enough wealth to become one of the nobles. So this is their kind of like historic family home. And underneath it's going to have like a barn type area, or not really a barn type area, storage type area, but this is going to be joined up with the barrel maker. So this is where during the rebellion they actually have a tunnel going from here to the barrel maker, and they would actually basically transport people and things like that up into the town, like weapons. So building a couple more frames for a few fields. One of the things I have done is I've not put as many fallowed fields as would actually exist. That's purely because they look a lot more interesting if you actually have crops in them, but there would be a lot more fallowed fields. So I've tried to go with quite a bit of a selection with these. So I've tried to put in like wheat and barley, and also obviously some vegetables and things like that. So you can see me just putting out a couple of these paths, and then just filling in the area around them with the walls. I really wanted to separate these quite a lot, and I've got quite a lot of paths, probably too many paths I think, between each of the fields. I think they would just walk through them, but it makes it quite nice and cut up, and I think it makes it look interesting as well. So we've got some beans on the back field there, and then we've got some barley in the front field, and then we've got a fallowed field right at the front. Now one of the other things I wanted to do is actually build an apple orchard. So I've done one of these before with the Hobbit series, but those trees were absolutely massive. So one of the things I did do is I had a look and took on the feedback from those videos all those years ago, and I've made quite a bit, well, more smaller trees, more realistic sized trees. So we've got this nice apple orchard, so they can make some cider. So again, this is the same family that has a lot of these farms, and they will sell their apples and also barley and things like that off to the brewers. So that's the idea of it. It's not, these aren't for food, these are for actually making ales and cider and things like that. So just putting in a quick tree. So I'm trying to do this with a lot of them just because it fills up the landscape quite nicely. And just filling in these paths. So I've got quite a bit of paths. I did a lot off camera as well because it took absolutely ages to get these paths really nice and smoothed out. And I wanted the worn paths between each of these to feel like they've been around for a very long time, not really well maintained at all. So on this back hill here, I just put in this very stubby windmill. So this, I'm not too happy with the windmill design at all really with this one, but at the same time it kind of works. So it's one of those that, although I'm not that happy with it, you wouldn't always have perfect windmills, so it might be that they ran out of money and that's why it's a stubbier one. So there we go, just building in a couple more paths around here. and just going all the way around the back and up around the back of the farmhouse, and then joining this up to where the windmill was, and then that goes back down again. So try to make it very, very joined up. So you can see me just putting in some details on the walls. This is something I've been meaning to do for absolutely ages, so I've sped this bit up massively. But it's just putting in vertical slabs and cutting into the walls, making it look worn, but also making bits of it look built up. Like almost like it's been collapsed and they've put more stone in and just layered it on top over the years. So one of the things I've done now is I've written a bit of the lore of Yarowyn, and this whole area used to be filled with these beautiful golden trees. Now when I built the actual, when I built Yarowyn, we didn't actually have that many of these really, really nice golden leaves. So what I've done instead is I've come back and I've actually tried to reimagine that forest, make it really nice, like bigger trees, really golden birch kind of coloured. So I've tried to put these in on this area here like it's part of the old forest, and we'll build more of the forest as well. So now I'm just building a small, kind of like a groundskeeper type person around here. So he's got just a small cabin. He's going to have quite a bit of wood supply. He looks after these bits of the woods, and he might even work as almost like a foreman for the fields as well. So then coming around to more of these trees, and I really want to flesh out this area. We've got some of them that have been cut down around it, but all of these have been individually created, which I quite like, though it did take quite a bit of time. I really like the look of them. I think it's a lot better. I do think we need to put it around the rest of the area and replace the kind of forest that we've got so far. Now coming around to the side of the brewer, this is the brewery that we built a long time ago, so I'm just sorting out the roof on that. Now this little area here I thought was perfect for, well, it was originally going to be a barn, but it's just a small little house. So somebody's little house that they've got outside, and they just work the fields. So around to the brewery, I wanted to make the brewery like a really big export around Hemburg. So we've got this warehouse here, so they would you know, brew everything up, get them in barrels, and actually store them here. Then they'd be going off either by car or by boat, so they could go upstream, they could go downstream as well, they could go into the swamp possibly. So we've got that around here. I did want to make it feel like it's been expanded, so the original building is the original building. And then we've got this other one here, so this is where they've expanded a bit. They built another building where they're going to be brewing mostly inside this time. And this one I'm quite happy with. It's got a weird tower on it. I want that to be like the boss's, you know, whoever's in charge of the whole brewing, manufacturing process. I want them to be in the top, so we're going to have like a quite high office in there. You can see me filling in the roof, just adding in bits of details and making it pop a little bit. And just filling it in, and then detailing up the roof as well, making it nice and smooth. Well, not really smooth, making it nice and rough, and just making it detailed like we've done with the rest of the style of the actual town. And you can just see me putting in those final bits of details, adding in things like windows, so that it all looks complete. So we've not got these completely flat walls. So now just adding in again a nice little bit of trees, and also just adding in a small stone wall around it as well, just kind of like finish off that that little area. So as I said with the brewers, they're actually going to have, well, one way of transporting it is by river, so we're going to build a small little boat here, load it up with a couple of barrels, and this ship is actually destined for Faceton Moor, which is one of the swamp towns. It might actually go to one of the smaller like docks that are around it, because I don't think you can get to Faceton Moor by boat. Another thing I want to do is get some more peasant houses in. So these are like really, really small peasant houses. They haven't got the detail around the side, they're just thatch on top. And I wanted to make it really, really kind of like blobby, make it look like it's falling apart a little bit. And we have done the interiors on these as well, which is great. So another thing I want to do is put in a lot of these small gardens. I've started to do that in the city as well, where we've got just peasant houses where they've got their own little gardens. And they've got their own vegetables growing as well, which would be accurate for the time. So we're just putting in the last few details, such as a tree and a couple bushes and things like that around, just to finish it up. So one of the things I did is I posted on Discord with this to see what people wanted to do with this area, and one of the things was to actually have some fields and have some irrigation. So I've got a water wheel, which then takes the water up, and then it dumps it here into this field. So we've actually got some irrigation ditches, which is something I haven't really done actually in this. I know I did it in the Hobbit series, I did a small bit of irrigation, but not majorly. So you can see me doing quite a lot of detailing in here. The other thing I want to do with the field at the bottom is, because the people of Hemburg are at war currently with still with Calandria, they are fighting for their freedom. I wanted a couple refugee type tents around here, or maybe there's going to be a meeting on or something like that. So a couple of the knights have actually come back to meet in the city, and there might not always be place for them. So we're going to have quite a few, refugee type tents with the smaller type tents. Some of the bigger ones are as well. That they have actually come down and tried to get away from the war-torn kind of area, which is slightly north. And this was a lot of fun doing, coming up with different tent designs, using a lot of the different materials we've got. The plastic materials are absolutely great for these. Absolutely great, because it makes them look quite worn. So we've got like the fighting area in the middle. We've got a place where they can buy some ales. We've got some small areas for eating food as well, of course, and a lot of campfires around. So one of the other things that people said on the Discord was to have the bridge under repair, and this was a great idea. So I've built some scaffolding in, and I wanted to have it being repaired, so that meant having a crane in, which was something I didn't have planned until I kind of thought about it, and they would have a crane, so that was quite interesting. I wanted to do it at an angle as well. So I'm really, really happy with how that's turned out. And we're just finishing up the area, so we've got a couple carts kind of like in the back area here. A couple more tents. I wanted to have almost like an armor smith that had come down. He doesn't have a forge, but he obviously can still sharpen weapons and things like that. And just have a couple more areas around with some more tents, and also I wanted some stables as well, so we built some stables near the back area. So I'm really, really happy with how this has turned out. But here's the finished kind of thing that we've been working on today. So we've got a lot of fields. We've got the nice golden woods, which I'm really, really happy with, the golden kind of forest. And I want to continue that on in the main forest areas where they haven't cut it down. Got the apple orchard, the windmill, also got the farmhouse. So I'm really happy with these, and I can't wait to get onto the interior of the farmhouse. I think it's going to be really, really fun. Got even more fields, so we've got the kind of like beans that are around here, we got some barley. And then we get near to the main kind of like Brewers district. I think it's going to be more of a Brewers district than anything. The big industry of Hemburg, which is your ales and your ciders and things like that. They mainly export to the rest of Yarowyn. And then of course we've got these fields down here, which have got irrigation kind of ditches in them. We've got the water flowing constantly at the minute for the refugees, but I'm really, really happy with this area, with the tents, with the scaffolding as well, with the repair work going on the bridge. Really, really like it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.